True. We are rolling. Yep. Ah, keep talking, McGreed. Ah, wow. Amazing. All right, folks, we are live in 4 minutes. We have a special guest. Yes. Yep. Very special guest indeed. All right, and then we're going to begin the real news. We do have some breaking news here, folks. You're going to want to catch this. Ice back in Providence, the only ones that have it. And I think we're going to be active tonight. I don't know. There's Farrah Paul. Hi there, Tammy. Andrea Lemire is here. It's always better when Lemire is here. There's Josh Allen Cooney. Hi there, Renee. Folks, we have the only ones with the video. Yep. Once again, ice back in Providence. Little snow in Virginia. I'm sorry to hear that, Joanne. All right, we have a very special guest, but there's something very significant that's going to happen on a federal level, but it's really going to impact Rhode Island. And we're going to tell you about that coming up. We're just 3 minutes out from the real news in our special guest, without a doubt. And you know, look how, like Ashley Kalish yesterday, she was defending that creep. And now where is it? You know, now the guy is denying that he was even drinking, which is ludicrous. So that's one of the problems. I have no idea why Ashley Kalish was then defending Enrique Sanchez, who then turned around and started, oh, there we go, and slamming President Trump for no reason at all. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but you're going to want to hear the breaking news. It's coming up. Be patient. Worcester is now a sanctuary city for transgender and gender diverse people. So congratulations to Worcester. Hopefully a number of people from Rhode Island will be following, going over there. So big day for Worcester. Yep. Big day indeed. So, folks, also, I've started to wear, I mean, I have beautiful clothes that for different reasons, it doesn't fit to wear when I'm out in the hood, but it wasn't lost on me when I would have guests on, and sometimes they're dressed very nicely, and then I'm just there in street clothes. You know, now many times, granted, I'm running from a scene or something like that, but you're going to notice a little bit of a difference. It doesn't kill you to throw on a blazer. A blazer does a lot of work. By the way, this is not a suit; it's a blazer. There are many individuals that don't know the difference. So, ICE agents grabbed the suspect in Providence. Judge McConnell's also really under fire right now. But there's a number of people that don't understand a blazer. There was a picture of me outside of a courthouse, and it was summertime. There we go, folks, at, yes, 106 on this Wednesday. This is the real news. And it's brought to you by, check out our website, depetro.com. We will be updating it later today. Right now, we are live. We're the only ones that do this. And I firmly believe it just keeps getting bigger. Right now, we use all platforms. Right now, we are live. Yes, it is true. We're on the radio, AM 1380, 99.9 FM. You can listen online at the website, which is depetro.com, which is brought to you by the Coincident. We're also right now live on our Facebook page, and then we're also live on both X and YouTube. So on all the pages. And then, you know, for those that pay attention, There's a running theme. Someone said, now how do I know what different channels or accounts on these different platforms? There's a little bit of a consistent theme with the name that it always appears. It's amazing the questions the chosen one gets with my incredible patience. But it is the real news. Now, some people watch it live, which is great. Good afternoon, everybody. A little bit of snow overnight caught me off guard. Had to go out to something this morning. I'm like, what is that? I just finished, had shoveled the walk. Now, granted, not a lot. Still a little bit of an aggravation. More snow coming, as you heard in the forecast, as this winter from hell continues. But this portion of the real news is brought to you. And what I mean by that is, some of these people posting, it's just New England winter. Excuse me. We've had of late some mild winters. Thus, all the talk about, global warming and climate change and the planet's under attack and there's no more snow and until this year happened. And we're having like the worst February that I remember in quite some time. But this portion of our program, check out DePietro.com, and it's brought to you by the Coesit Inn. 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. For crying out loud, they're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. Now, I also want to mention one of our sponsors. Yep, Watson Materials. It is true that they carry the largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Watson Materials, right now, they have bulk salt and bag and salt available ice melt. So bulk salt and ice melt bulk now is available at Watson Materials. You can call them. I don't think we're out of the woods I know we're not out of the woods just yet. 401-885-0600. It is true. They have the most complete selection of landscape material in Rhode Island, but Watson Materials. Sean said, Juan, let everyone know we have it. Done. Landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone. But Watson Materials, if you log on, I did share their Facebook page because now, and that it's bulk now. Now, there are some people, we're not talking about someone that says, I could use an extra bag a little bit on your walk with some ice. No, we're talking about someone that there are people that need a lot more than just something for their front walk. So I want to just check. I did share their Facebook page. The page has been so busy. There's the horrible story about Bellingham. My goodness, loss of life. But that's right. Watson Materials bulk salt and ice melt is available at Watson Materials. So either stop by and see them, or you could always call first. Not the worst idea in the world. Folks, call Watson Materials now, 401-885-0600, 401-885-0600, and they are located right on South County Trail, not far from Dave's. It's Watson Materials. So you could obviously call them 1500 South County Trail in EG, 401-885-0600. But again, Watson Materials, folks, we're talking more snow on the way, and they do have, in fact, the bulk salt and ice melt. Now, I do have this. We posted it on TikTok. It's also on this Facebook page. We're the only ones that have it. So this is the second time we have video of ICE executing, going after someone in Providence. So it's on the Facebook page, and you can check it out at your leisure. But it's also on, let me just check, go around the horn, how it's doing. We have huge news today, but I want to just check that. Okay, so it's taking off on TikTok, and then we also have it on Instagram, and then it is also on our Facebook page and YouTube as well. And it's actually even on X. So let me just check. I get so much new information whenever I post a lot of this. I don't know why. I like how people mean to be sending a message to the person that's featured in the story, but they send it to me. I don't know why you wouldn't just post it under comment, but I don't understand a lot of things. I want to just hold on. Let me just double check one. Nope, that's not it. Where is it that I was looking for? One more check. That's not it. All right. Well, I have it somewhere. I'll look into it. Where was that? Someone I wanted to check who had info on something. All right. Well, anyway, you can see it. I'm going to get more details. But this is the second time, right? Chosen one, Road Patrol 2, rest of local media 0. So we're the, again, second video of ICE. And it is an unusual, easy for me to say, unusual dynamic. It's an unusual dynamic that our local law enforcement, not all, by the way, not all. So ICE has been active locally, and I had mentioned they were in Cranston, Dyer Avenue, and then they were in Providence. That weekend now, it was the weekend of the AFC Championship, the NFC Championship games, because I missed the NFC Championship game because I went up. They grabbed that guy on a Saturday night. They grabbed him right on Chalkstone Avenue. I believe there were even 2 of them that they grabbed. But anyhow, so we have it. So they're active, and they seem to be. This is such an unusual situation because as someone, I rode with Cranston police one night when we went to go pick up someone that was wanted on a warrant in another city. Call that, police in the other city, and then let them know we're rolling in to get this individual. Many times they actually, if I remember, they met us there and then even assisted with it. It's putting us, the state and our law enforcement, in a dangerous situation that they're not being told to assist. Now, I also want to be very clear. I know everyone thinks they're going to see things that say ICE. They understand they're operating in a a sanctuary state, and with what you see yesterday, a sanctuary city in Providence. So many of these are FBI, Homeland Security, ATF. They're federal agents working for ICE. But right now, ICE actually doesn't have enough agents to go out and do everything that they're doing. The individual they grab, my information is that this was someone that was wanted, had been in the country, wanted on a crime, left the country, then illegally re-entered the country. And again, I don't understand how our local, I don't get it. To me, it doesn't make sense. I think at some point we'll look back and say, boy, that really didn't make sense how our local police would not cooperate with it. But that's what happens when you have a governor running a sanctuary state, and then you have mayors, specifically Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls, East Providence. There's been no ICE activity in East Providence, but the mayor there, which is really surprising, a former police officer, we will not cooperate. Like, I don't understand these individuals. Where do they even get off? And I don't understand why they feel so confident saying it. Now, as far as Rep. Sanchez, yesterday, and again, we have a special guest coming in just a couple moments. We're going to start to feature more people on the program. He is from Cranston. He's an elected rep. He's new at the State House. Chris Papalakis. We've had him on before. We're going to join Chris, and Chris is going to join us, and talk a little bit. But folks, yesterday, I still don't get Ashley Kalis, who is saying that's enough. Enrique Sanchez, the rep, let him go. Enough of this cancer culture. This isn't cancer culture. And yesterday, I understand both Brian Crandall of NBC 10, and then I don't remember who was there from Channel 12, but they were questioning him. But the speaker was at the whole Foxy Village rollout and said, oh, no, he called me. He's very remorseful. And then Sanchez shows up yesterday. First of all, he's a mess. He's a fraud. He can't talk. He's moving around like as I said earlier, it's like the expression ants in your pants. He's jumping around, nobody's perfect. I'm working on myself. Tries to take a shot at President Trump. I mean, the whole rationale is absolutely pathetic. He's what I thought he is. He's a creation of the left. He's actually not a smart guy. Ashley Kalis put out, he should work with He doesn't want to work with anyone. I still don't understand that. I don't want to dwell too much on it. She can explain why she would put out something like that. But what you saw was now he's suddenly backtracking. Oh, I didn't say I was drinking. The police asked me if I had been eating and drinking. And I said, yeah, no, I was drinking water and soda. Folks, he was passed out at a red light in Cranston at 3 a.m. You've seen the video. He can't, oh, no, I had medication and I was with family and friends. No, he wasn't. He was at that Rep. Brandon Potter's house. That's why he was there in Cranston. He wasn't anywhere near Providence. He was basically annihilated. He was blank-faced, as you'd say. So does he come out and no, now he's like, oh, the police, that was wrong. It was the police were wrong. Don't you understand? That's always their calling card. That's always their calling card to then start blaming others. Folks, this portion of the book, but there's something really significant that's going to happen today. And I'm going to get to it right now before we have our guest on. Folks, this portion of the program brought to you by Propane Plus. What I'm going to tell you, a lot of people are not going to get how huge this is. But you're going to hear it here first. I'll tell you that. And I will talk about Judge Jack McConnell because something embarrassing is kind of happening right now as well. God, it's a good thing I'm on doing the real news. Propane Plus. Call them today, 401-885-4209. 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. You know what? You can depend on Propane Plus. And this time of year, you want to make sure you're dealing with someone you can depend on. You can log on to their website, propaneplus.com. Residential or commercial, it's Propane Plus. You just type in your zip code. But if you use propane, call Propane Plus, 401-885-4209. Now, before we bring on our guest, two things I want to mention. One is Jack McConnell, the federal judge. And I'm going to say I think he's kind of backtracking a little bit now. He's made news, something that has happened. And, listen, I'm trying to call balls and strikes. It's not a good look for local media. And what I'll tell you is this. Now, I've known Judge McConnell. I've known him for 25 years. He's always been really fair with me, nice to me. I used to have him as when he was hosting Hillary, who came into his house for a breakfast fundraiser, had him on the radio. That's how I first got to know him. He invited me to the house. I went by the house covering it, introduced me to Hillary Clinton, blah, blah, blah. Then when he became a judge, it was widely reported that he donated huge amounts of money over the course of years, huge, hundreds of thousands in donations. And then he became a judge. And that was talked about on the air. As I remember, Sanchez really went after him very strong. So that's been reported. When I have been in his courtroom in federal court, now I had not seen him in years. He's on the bench. This is several years ago now. I'm in he's a federal judge. I was in a case. I was on covering a case that he was handling. Couldn't have been nicer. He allowed me to use Twitter from the courtroom, which was the first. Made sure, pointed out to his people, get him anything he needs. Couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been nicer. So my personal dealings with him have been very, very positive. However, where I believe the local media, so he's the judge that's really been butting heads with the administration, and where I think it's a bad look for local media is, first of all, it's not that he is now saying, well, as far as the administration, he's kind of clarifying. Even the Boston court was even saying that the Boston judge, federal judge of Rhode Island, this is Crandall, reaffirms his temporary restraining order while clarifying it doesn't prevent the president and government from limiting funds using lawful authority. So it's taken down a notch. But here's the part I want to get to. It was not reported locally that one of his children, I think he has several children, one of them, high level Department of Education. That was reported nationally. So the local media, for all of their reporting about Judge Jack McConnell, it's a bad look that it gets reported that his has a family member who would be affected by any type of shutdown. I don't know enough on whether or not he should recuse himself. All I'm saying is the reporting on that relationship is coming nationally, not locally. That's not good. Whenever someone is covered locally, the local press should uncover every rock. Let the nationals come in, but they're picking over things that have already been uncovered. I had not seen that reported. If there's a local reporter that had reported that, that got past me. So now I will talk about Medicaid in just a moment. But folks, joining us right now, we spoke to him before, and now he is at the Rhode Island State House. He represents the city of Cranston, and it is Representative Christopher Paplakis. Rep, great to see you. Thank you for taking the time to join us on The Real News.
John, thanks for having me on. I just want to take a minute to say hello to all of your listeners on all of your platforms. Thanks for watching, and I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
First of all, what's the mood like at the Rhode Island State House? There's been some reporting that, and I'm glad to hear it actually, that Republicans are feeling a little wind under their sails with the Trump win, the mood of the country right now. What's the feeling like on Smith Hill?
You know, I can speak for the Republicans. You know, we have a great caucus. There's 10 of us on the Republican side in the minority office. We're all friends. We're all working together. We're all supporting each other's bills. You know, it's a breath of fresh air to have this great group of individuals working to better not only their districts, but to better the lives of all Rhode Islanders, right? That's why we're up there. We're up there to try to make everyone's lives in Rhode Island better, try to bring common sense leadership. You know, I think the mood's good. I mean, we got a great leader. Mike Chippendale is a phenomenal person. You know, Whip Place. We got a really good team. Former leader Brian Newberry, all a wealth of institutional knowledge, great people to lean on, to ask questions, and to sit next to in committees and to work with. So I'm really, really thrilled to be up there working with them.
Rep, nationwide, you know, people are actually excited and embracing what Elon Musk and, you know, the Department of Energy, government efficiency, what they're essentially doing is a big audit. I don't know if everyone understands that. And it's a huge task where they're basically doing a huge audit on government spending. Like, let's just peel back the Band-Aid. Let's see where all the money goes, whether it's the Pentagon, wherever it may be. What's the feeling like at the State House? Do they understand that people find it refreshing that there's someone looking for more government efficiency?
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because I actually got appointed to the House Subcommittee on Government Efficiency. We haven't met yet. The committees are just getting going. So it's kind of topical with what's going on, you know, nationwide. And I think the problem is, I mean, you understand it and your listeners do too. Government gets too big, you know, it's bills after bills, after budgets, and the funding just keeps coming, and everything keeps growing. It's nice to be able to look and say, okay, what are we spending our money on now? Maybe we should have spent money on that 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, but why are we still putting money towards that now? Maybe the money can be better spent somewhere else, or we can reduce spending and create a better economy for everybody. So yeah, it is topical. When I got appointed to that committee, my friends that were watching the committee assignment started texting me, "You're the new Elon Musk. You're going to be on that committee." And you know, we haven't met yet, but I look forward to digging into that and seeing what we can do for Rhode Island.
Rep, let me ask you, and not to put you on the spot, does Rhode Island, does this state need a $14 billion budget, even though New Hampshire, which geographically is a larger state, but basically the same population. It's my understanding they operate with a budget that's under $10 billion. Does Rhode Island need a $14 billion budget?
The quick answer is probably not. And I think we need to look at that and see where we can save. It's grown every single year. I mean, since I was a kid, right? I mean, it just grows and grows and grows. And that happens on the city side too. And when I was on the city council for 10 years and those couple of years as president, we worked really hard to make sure, when our budgets increased a little bit, a lot of that's contractual obligations and things happen, but we worked really hard to make sure we held the line for the taxpayers. And that's what we need to continue to do for Rhode Islanders. So that number is big, right? But at the end of the day, we need to hold the line for the taxpayers because we're already overburdened.
We are overburdened. Rep, I'm just curious, just a quick question. Rep Sanchez returned to the State House yesterday. He was Cranston Police, to me, seems like they did a thorough professional job, but they did charge him DUI, refused the test. I'm just curious if you heard much from some of your residents about a fellow rep that you have to work with getting caught on the DUI in your city.
I haven't heard anything from any of my constituents, but just, you know me, John, as a person, we're all humans. We all make mistakes, whether it's a rep or, Bob walking down the street. So I really do wish him the best, and anybody that makes a mistake or has some issues. And I just hope that, everything gets worked through and everything is fine. So that's really all I want to comment on that per se. That's really his situation. I do really wish him the best as a human. So
let me ask you this, Rep. And again, I'm just curious, is there some legislation that the Republicans, yourself included, obviously, feel strongly about that the people of the state, your constituents, people of the state, should pay attention to?
Yeah, there's like 75 bills to 100 bills that the Republican caucus and the members are putting in as of now, and that number is probably going to grow. And they're all bills to help Rhode Islanders, but a couple of them that I'm focused on or want to testify on or working on or sponsored with my colleagues is one is unfunded mandates for school districts. A lot of the school districts eat up a large percentage of the municipal budgets in all the cities and towns across the state. Some take 50% of the budget, some take 60% of their budget. And a lot of that spending comes from unfunded mandates where they're not getting reimbursed from RIDE or the state of Rhode Island. So we're going to be putting a bill in that says, if you're not getting reimbursed 100% from RIDE, you don't have to spend that money. So that way these school committees, you see what's going on in other cities and towns, will have that leeway to give them a little flexibility and maybe cut some spending and make their budget numbers work. Another bill that we're going to be putting in is to reinstate the ratepayer advisory board at the PUC. I don't know about you, but I am sticker shocked every time I open my utility bills, especially my electric. And I'm getting lots of phone calls and emails from residents that are having trouble making the ends meet when it comes to the utility bills, and I don't blame them. We had a 42% or a 47% increase last year alone just in electricity. So that's another thing that is on our radar for sure.
I also just want to ask you about, and I want to give credit, Ted Nisi, WPRI. I think he's a great reporter. He put out Medicaid is the biggest program by far in Rhode Island state budget, $2.8 billion, covered by federal funds this year. So any big decrease in federal aid means either cuts or more in Rhode Island taxpayers. And the reason why he put that is another reporter saying the budget resolution calls for $2 trillion in cuts to mandatory spending. Since Social Security, Medicare are off the table, this would mean cuts to Medicaid. So what I think is interesting about this, Rep, is I've heard from doctors that tell me that they've had patients that come to see them and they're on Medicaid, and the reason why they came to Rhode Island is because they were basically unable to get on Medicaid in other states. I've heard many times, granted, it's just, me hearing from doctors and so forth, but it's people from another land, let's say a new arrival in the country, and yet they're on Medicaid in Rhode Island. Any insight to the potential problem that the state might have regarding our obligations with Medicaid? I believe with Rhode Island, it's very generous.
Yeah, see, I don't know the ins and out. I'm not on the Health and Oversight Committee when it
Okay.
comes to how that is given out or how lenient or not lenient we are. I do know with the size of our budget, we need every single penny of that money, or we're going to be in big trouble when it comes time to closing that budget at the end of June. So I just saw that tweet actually as I was sitting down and was intrigued by the amount, how high the amount of that money is, and then also said, oh, our budgets, we're going to be in trouble if we don't get that money. And, that goes into a bigger picture of state officials and our federal delegation really do need to work with Washington with every opportunity. Just like, I'm a Republican, but I'll work with Democrats. I don't care if it's a Republican idea, Democrat idea, independent idea. If it's a good idea for Rhode Island or my district, we should probably do it, right? That's how I've always governed. So I think we need to make sure we're working with the newly elected representatives in Washington, the president, and make sure that, Rhode Island is going to get their fair share. But I think if you're attacking, the president, or you're not working well in Washington, or reaching across the aisle and building those bridges, you're gonna have trouble.
Folks, again, our guest he's from Cranston, District 15. It's Representative Chris Papalakis. Chris, unless I'm missing something, every time on social media, at least, that I see our two reps, meaning Seth Magaziner, who's District 2, and also Rep. Congressman Gabe Amo, between Congressman Magaziner and Congressman Amo, all the communication from them seems to be that they're fighting the administration, and that's all they seem to be doing is trying to fight the administration.
Yeah, John, there's a time to fight, right? Especially when you're opposite parties, when it's election time. The election's over. Roll up your sleeves, take a meeting with leadership, get to work, bring back resources to Rhode Island that we obviously need. I mean, we have, the bridge for one of them, the George Washington Bridge. I'm on House Oversight. We have a joint meeting tomorrow of the House Oversight, Senate, and House. The House and the Senate side, we're going to have a joint meeting of oversight with DOT to get an update on the Washington Bridge. Now, you probably saw on Facebook, I put a post up a day or two ago asking residents to email me their questions so I can go through them and see which ones I can ask, on behalf of them for the district. So I'm very engaged in that as well. But you need to get along. You need to reach across the aisle. I think of John McCain back in the day, that being that statesman and working together with everyone to get results. We just want results. At the end of the day, that's all we want.
I am curious about that. DOT Director Peter Alviti, I believe he's the one that's scheduled in front of the Oversight Committee. I am curious, what was the reasoning, and maybe it's routine, maybe it's not done, but why is it that he's not going to be under oath?
I don't know. That's a question for the committee chair. I know when I was on the city council, if we had a witness that we didn't really know if we were getting the right answer, we would have the stenographer put them under oath. I don't know what the procedure is, or if there are any rules to that, or when it comes to a joint meeting. That's a good question. I'd have to get back to you on that, John. I'm not trying to avoid it. I just don't know.
And I do have one question, then we're going to let you go. And again, folks, it's Representative Chris Papalakis. He's brand new, Republican at the Rhode Island State House, District 15. And Chris, that is, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but every afternoon, and it starts in the early afternoon, where the traffic starts to build up on 95, and it actually goes to the Cranston line. I've seen when Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, he's even on with Channel 10 and Dan Janik, they show him what the traffic looks like in real time. Yep. It's every afternoon. It's all because of traffic backing up, trying to go over 195. I'm just curious, of all the different talk that they have, they're going to pick the company, design, and so forth, but I don't hear any discussion from DOT on how they can address, because that has greatly impacted anyone trying to go 95 north. I'm going to say it starts probably right around now, and then it continues right until about 6:30 at night.
Yeah, it's a problem, John. I think I said this to you before. I had to go to a doctor's appointment recently in East Providence, and it was horrible. It took a solid 45, 50 minutes to get there from about the Cranston line, where Route 10, drops off onto 95 all the way to the bridge. And then you know what? Coming back isn't any better. It gets backed up past the Mass line. And it's tough for people that just want to go to work earn a living, and go home to their family, and they can't.
Yeah.
Their whole lives have been turned upside down, and I really feel bad for the small businesses that have been affected, because small businesses really are the backbone of Rhode Island. So we need to get this done quick, but I know it's not going to be a quick solution. I mean, it's just to build a bridge alone. We're still demolishing the old bridge.
Yes. Yeah. But
So
I would just like to hear if they have some plan on that.
I'll ask that
Yeah.
question.
I mean,
That's a great question.
I don't know what I don't know what the answer would be. But what I found kind of puzzling was that the governor he just kind of nodded with Dan Janik. Yeah, look at that traffic. Not like, well, here's what we're going to do about it or anything like that. Rep, before I let you go, what's the best way for people that people can reach you or reach out to you?
The best way is email, because then I can track it, respond, and get back to them, and then follow up as well. But my cell phone number is listed on everything. People can call my cell phone or email me. But the best thing is to email me. Call me anytime if you got a question. But most times the conversation ends with, I'm going to work on that, but send me an email. That way I can flip it to the right person that can help me or get an answer for them and follow up. It's just the best way to track it.
Is your email on your Facebook page?
Yes, on my Facebook page, and it's on the state website as well. It's Rep-Peplowskis at RI Legislature.
Okay, folks, again, Representative Chris Peplock. Rep, listen, keep up the good work. You're doing a great job. You're up there for the people. People are depending on you. Keep doing your thing. And hey, good luck with the oversight hearing as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And John, thanks for the opportunity to come on. And thanks to all of your listeners out there and viewers, because you got both. Certainly appreciate your time as well, being here to listen to me. So thank you so much.
Folks, he's the Elon Musk of Rhode Island. It's Representative Rep. Great to talk to you. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, there it is. And it is Representative Chris Papalakis. Now we're going to start to make this, right now it's at 1:38. We're going to make this more of a regular feature, where I think every single day during this time, the Real News, we're going to feature a different guest. And it's going to be obviously people that are in the mix, people also, by the way, that I think deserve more of a voice. And I really want to touch on this Medicaid situation. Listen, I'll admit, Medicaid is not something I spend a lot of time on. Medicaid is not something that I even admittedly don't, I normally wouldn't even dive into the topic. Oh, wow. All right, I want to get to this in just a moment. Okay, the White House is now responding to Judge McConnell. We're going to get to that. Again, I don't think a good look for the Rhode Island media that information about the judge is being broken by outside the 401 area code news sources. I don't think that's good. But let me stay on schedule. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Kids Club. Remember, Kids Club, birthday parties, before and after school programs, preschool programs. Now, Kids Club on the Pike, hear me now, is perfect for a birthday party venue or a youth team get together. Kids Club on the Pike is perfect, but they also offer before and after school care, providing transportation before after care for school age children 5 through 12, and also preschool, by the way, half and full day program, preschool children 3 through 5. Folks, it's Kids Club on the Pike. You're going to love it. Kristen there does a fantastic job. I do share their Facebook page. You can call them 401-443-5336. Now, this is a very reasonable question. Where are they located? Glad you asked that. Kids Club on the Pike. It's right off 295. It's right on the Cranston-Johnston line on Plainfield Pike. Kids Club on the Pike. And before I talk about the White House, let me also just mention, because I did have someone ask me about this, and it's quality asphalt seal coating. Ben contacted me about that. What do they offer? Call Corey, 401-283-9815. Quality asphalt seal coating. Now, what they do is they'll seal coat driveways, parking lots. They also crack filling, pothole repairs, line stripping. They can make your pavement look like new. They keep your parking lot safe, fixing potholes, cracks, make sure your lines are bright, direct traffic safely. They also do sport court resurfacing. Maybe it's pickleball or tennis or basketball. And they also will epoxy garages and patios, decorative concrete flooring. Folks, contact them. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. I've shared their Facebook page. You can call Corey 401 283 9815. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Let me get to, I'm seeing that the White House now. Let's see. This is the White House. Judges have issued at least 12 injunctions against the Trump administration in the past 14 days, often without citing any evidence or grounds. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells us, we believe these judges are acting as judicial activists rather than honest arbiters of the law. So that's interesting. And let me just see, because Ted Nesi again put White House response to Judge McConnell. Well, he's one of the ones, as I said, that I don't think it's a good look. How about this? When Socket offering amnesty program for unpaid taxes. That's not a bad idea. I actually think that's a very good idea. But I want to get back to, so that is something to watch. And the part about it that I think that really stands out, as I said, is how is this going to shake out with, now it seemingly is public knowledge or national that Judge McConnell of Rhode Island, last time I knew, he had a beautiful, lovely home right off Blackstone Boulevard on the east side, but that he has a family member that works for the Department of Education. So I want to just, Natalie Winters, she works for the Steve Bannon podcast. Okay. She put, would be a shame if the montage is totally not political, not anti-Trump blocking went viral. So she's kind of mocking that a little bit. But even Elon Musk was going after Judge McConnell and the daughter. See, that's the thing. I mean, we're going to have to wait kind of, and I hate to say we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But what I meant is, I without knowing, Elon Musk put impeach this activist posing as a judge. And he's talking about Rhode Island Judge Jack McConnell. Such a person does great discredit to the American justice system. The Obama appointed judge that threatened the Trump administration. And this is a video where he was comparing President Trump's first term to the Civil War and Jim Crow. But the part that I thought jumped out, that even activist Laura Loomer went after, was the fact that the daughter worked for the Department of Education. So now let's just be really clear. There's nothing wrong with Judge McConnell's daughter working for the Department of Education. The question is whether or not he should have recused himself from a case that would involve cutting funding. I'm also saying this. It's always a family affair with the Democrats. It's Jack McConnell. John McConnell recently ordered the Trump administration and Dodge to unfreeze billions of dollars in federal funding. Conveniently, the judge failed to disclose his daughter, Catherine McConnell, is a senior policy advisor for the Department of Education, an organization slated to be gutted by President Trump and Dodge initiatives to cut back on government waste. She was also appointed by Joe Biden. Clear conflict of interest. McConnell should recuse himself immediately. We'll this is not going to play itself out today, but I do admit that seems like a situation where he could have recused himself, or should have recused himself. What I don't understand is why that was not reported by our local media. Now, again, I'm totally open to the, hey, we did, the Providence Journal did and you missed it, or the Boston Globe did. But I follow things pretty closely, and I don't think I saw that. Now, at 146, I want to touch on this Medicaid. I understand, folks. You know what? Actually, this is going to be the first time that we are actually discussing Medicaid, but I want to stay on schedule. And I'll tell you why I want to stay on schedule is because right now, there is no end in sight right now to the cold weather. So you need to make sure your heating, however you get your heating, you need to make sure that it's working as efficiently as possible. That's where modern mechanical can come in because they do boiler repair and maintenance, furnace installation, heater repair and maintenance. So boiler repair and maintenance, furnace repair and maintenance, heater repair and maintenance. Modern mechanical. Call Richard. They're right on Jefferson Boulevard, 401 441 5442. Let me ask it this way. Are you having a problem with your boiler or your furnace or your heater? Modern mechanical. Folks, the key is to have everything working as efficiently as possible. Modern mechanical, 401 441 5442. So here's the part that I've never discussed Medicaid. Why? Because it's not interesting and you get like way into the weeds on it. But this is the part that suddenly I believe they have to be nervous at the Rhode Island State House. And that is the fact that I've heard, as I was mentioning, from numerous doctors and other people, by the way, that when many times people, health officials, they'll talk with some of the new arrivals to our state. And the reason they come actually to Rhode Island is because of the generous benefits offered. What do I mean by that? There are illegals in other states and they leave the other states. Why? Because the benefit package is more generous here. And one of the reasons is Medicaid. One of the reasons is Medicaid. Rhode Island's Medicaid is far too generous and it's a huge part of the budget. But so what does that mean? You have women show up at Rhode Island, women and infants. They're from another country. They're pregnant, 8 months pregnant, as a matter of fact. So they're going to give birth at women and infants, no insurance. They're immediately put on Medicaid. It's a huge part of the Rhode Island budget. Way too high, by the way. So I want to go back to, and I give him credit, Ted Nesi. Medicaid, biggest program by far in Rhode Island state budget. $2.8 billion covered by federal funds this year, plus then the state kicks in. So any big decrease in federal aid means either cuts or more on Rhode Island taxpayers. And as I mentioned, in Washington, they're looking to cut $2 trillion. Folks, do you understand? Not only does Governor McKee not have money for the bridge, the whole carrot and stick, the whole luring, whether they're from the Dominican, wherever they're from, and they're talking to their friends, and some of their friends say, how come you're not in this state? Or how come you're not in that state? And they say, because the benefits, the package in Rhode Island, it's so much better. They give you, we're all getting free Medicaid, free healthcare. We all get EBT cards. Housing assistance. They send their kids to the schools. It's kind of like The Godfather. And I know because I've heard from many of them. They say, why don't you go settle in this state or that state? And they say, because what we are offered, the illegals say this, what we're offered in this place called Rhode Island, it's a better package. We get more money, we get more bang for the buck. So the free Medicaid, and they feel like they have it made. And this happens all the time. They immediately, now I understand that women and infants, they're saying, well, that woman just had a child. That's the least we can do. But the question is, why are they coming here when they're 8 months pregnant? Why? Because then they give birth at women and infants, and many times, through no fault of their own, the little infants have a lot of health problems. Folks, we are at a line in the sand. The people of Rhode Island have to decide, do you want to continue to be a magnet for the third world? Because that's what's going on. That's what it is. Do we want to continue to be the draw and the magnet for everyone that is in a third world country? Because that's, whether people like it or not, that's who's coming here. That's who they appeal to. That's who McKee and Matos and Magaziner and Amo, their entire mechanism, they're setting up shop. And all they're trying to do is lure these people from third world countries to come into the state. And the kicker is they want you to pay for it. Listen, I'll cut to the chase. The $14 billion budget, it's ludicrous. It's not real. I have been telling you repeatedly, when Governor McKee said, well, we could have a deficit of $300 million. I said at the time, and that was at his State of the State, that was done way too premature. Way too premature. None of it even is real anymore. That's like you fall down 21-0, and then you're still going ahead with your game plan, which was to run the ball, maybe even 28-0. My point is, I said at the time, he's missing a zero. They're not going to have a $300 million deficit. They could be dealing with a $3 billion deficit. They don't know how to budget. Rhode Island Governor McKee, he doesn't know how to budget. No, he blew through all of that COVID money. Folks, there's too much spending. We can't afford to take care of all these people. And by the way, all these illegals, now they're going to start telling them, hey, we know we paid for you, but now you have to pay. It makes no sense. That's no way to run a state. That's no way to run a government. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not that hard. And the decisions they've been making are not helping. They're hurting. Folks, this portion of our program, you watch that Medicaid. That is a big reason why people come to the state. Same thing with unemployment. They never get kicked off unemployment. Other states, there's a timeline. In Rhode Island, they're never kicked off unemployment. Never. Goes on and on. Look at those pallet shelters yesterday. Marching band. How embarrassing. Oh, here we are with the village. Yeah, taxpayer. We had to pay for that. Each one of those units cost $100,000 taxpayer money. Way over cost. A joke. And they're celebrating. Didn't accomplish anything. You watch. Those things are going to be a mess. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Arch Design Builders. They could have designed better pallets. Maybe you're thinking of you'd like to redo your kitchen or your bathroom or your basement. Maybe you have a special project in mind. If you're listening right now on this Wednesday, residential or commercial, you're thinking of having some work done. Maybe it is at your workplace. Maybe you want to rehab your business or your home. Maybe it is a basement or a deck or a kitchen or a bathroom. You want to contact Arch Design Builders. Contact Ed and Roxanne, 401-207-4124. 401-207-4124. Arch Design Builders. Folks, it all starts with the phone call. It all starts with let's have a meeting. Let's see the space that we have to work with. Arch Design Builders. Call Roxanne, 401-218-9707. 401-218-9707. Folks, good afternoon at 1:56. So now even the White House is commenting on Rhode Island Judge Jack McConnell. And I wanted to just check. As I mentioned, I just saw the Providence Journal posted. Well, let me see. What was the title of it? I think it was like everything to know about this judge. I don't know about that. I would make sure, because it sure doesn't seem to be everything that we need to know about this judge. If anything, I think the situation, again, there's nothing wrong with it, but you just leave yourself open. You're commenting on who is Judge McConnell. That's it. Providence Journal. Meet Rhode Island judge at the center of Trump's spending freeze by Katie Mulvaney, who is a good reporter who I'd like. Took 3 times for President Obama to nominate him as a federal judge, make it through. Now a single Republican vote in favor of the controversial pick. Since 2019, Chief Judge, U.S. District Court. Here's more about him. He was born in Providence, lived in the former Valley View housing project. He's one of 6 brothers. I know one of his brothers, by the way. Again, don't get me wrong. They're really nice people. Greenwood section of Warwick. Hey, Hendrick and grad. I think I do remember that now. Graduated from Brown. Case Western Reserve University School of Law. He worked for Motley Rice. I know that. He made a ton of money with the tobacco settlement. Represented Rhode Island's lead paint. Let's see. Nomination, mounting a campaign, demonstrated fundamental bias against business. Well known in Democrat circles. He's donated a lot of money. Treasurer of the State Democrat Committee. That's right. I remember I dealt with him in 2004. He was very active. I just remembered it when the Democrat convention was in Boston, and he was trying to make a bid for the delegates to stay in Providence. I remember that. And look at that. And see, that's the problem. You know, it mentions some of the various things, but it doesn't mention anything for the fact about the daughter. And that's what is drawing the most attention. So, well, folks, at 1:59, again, this has been The Real News. I want to thank our guest, Rep. Chris Papalakis. We will be doing Road Patrol Live later. We will on this Wednesday. We have video of ICE that's up. We'll have it on the website, depetro.com. If you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Everyone else, we will be back later for Road Patrol Live. Enjoy this Wednesday.